Shalom and welcome to Mitzvah Torah. This year is entitled "The Long and Windy Road to Redemption." Moshe goes ahead in Parshat Shemot. He does not want to take the leadership position. Hashem says there is no choice in the matter. And he's told to go to the Chachamim, the Zakanim, the elders of Israel. He goes to them in Perek Daled. They were happy to hear him. Vayaminu, they believed him. And they bowed down, prostration to Hashem, out of simcha and hakarat tov, appreciation. Everything's going fine. Parak Hey, he goes ahead and speaks to Paro, and not only does the redemption not move forward, doesn't stay neutral, it goes backwards, where now the people have to work harder, it's more challenging. And then the Shotrim, the Jewish Shotrim, who in the front lines, they meet Moshe, they said, you made things worse for us. Hashem should judge you for what you've done. And then Moshe goes to Hashem, why did you make it worse for the people? And then the beginning of Ha'era, again, Moshe speaks to the people about salvation. Lo Shemor Moshe, didn't listen to Moshe, because there was just too much going on. They couldn't hear about any talks of salvation. Things went backwards. They did not move forwards in any way. I think there's an amazing lesson here regarding redemption that applies to the first redemption, second, third redemption, one that we're in right now. The Jews back then, this was the first redemption. They did not know Hilchot Geula, the laws of redemption. So there was a legitimate position to think that once a redemption process begins, it just expands and goes in a positive direction. And therefore, if there's a step backwards, and that's a sign there's something wrong here. This is the first redemption they're going through. They don't know what it means. And therefore, the leaders, the nation, they all think that once we hear that it's a time of redemption, the work is going to get less, and eventually we will be out and we'll be freed. And the fact that we are now more enslaved and we're working on Shabbat, also according to the Medrash, and we have to gather our own straw, this is a setback. The setback cannot be the redemption process. Of course, the Chiddush, the idea that was given to Moshe and the people then, is that a setback, taking a few steps backwards and then moving forward, that is the redemption process. There's no contradiction to the redemption at all. And the fact is that's not only then, that's every time since then. David HaMelech conquers Yerushalayim. Hashem, it's time for me to build a Mikdash. He speaks to Natan. Natan Paskins, build a Mikdash. What a leap forward. And then Natan comes back and says, no, I received a Nevuah. You're not the one who's going to build it. Ezra's times, 70 years after the first destruction, the construction begins. Then it stopped for quite a few years. That's it. It's the end of the redemption process? Of course not. It's a step back. It's thwarted. It's temporarily on hold. But that doesn't mean the process isn't in motion. It just has a step back. So too now, over the last 200 years, since the Chassam Sofer, Baal Shem Tov, Gross students come, and we keep moving forward, 1897, 1917, 1947, 1948, 1967, miracle after miracle. And yes, during all this time, there's plenty of setbacks as well. The treatment of the Taimani Jews, Gush Katif, giving back Yamit, 73 war, at least the initial days, these are all setbacks, but in no way do these setbacks contradict the idea of redemption. People have to understand that the redemption process does not go forward in a straight line. It never did. It's a roller coaster. We go up, we go back a bit, we pause, and that's the redemption process. So no one should have any kind of problem like, oh my gosh, this cannot be the redemption because of all these problems. Not a contradiction at all. Now, do people have a right to claim this is redemption? That's another topic totally. But those who do claim it for various legitimate reasons, hopefully, these questions are not questions. They're tragedies when they're setbacks, but they're not challenges to the redemption. Shalom.